Mike, what you up to today? Well, today I have a lot more time to work in the garden, so I'm going to take advantage of that time. As you know, earlier we planted the potatoes right here behind me in the third row. But today what I need to do is if I can, I'd like to get both of the trellises up for the cucumbers, which will go here. And then that first row right over here, I plan to put the cherry tomatoes. So what we're going to do now is we're going to set up the trellising that I use, and we'll hopefully, maybe we'll get the cucumbers at least in the ground. If not, we'll just get the trellising up today, and we'll plant the cucumbers and cherry tomatoes tomorrow. But no promises. Let's see how far I get with the trellising, and maybe we can get them planted today, but I don't know what's going to happen. It may all end up being tomorrow. But anyway, let's get started here in the next couple seconds and we'll get the trellising up. Okay everyone, here's my trellising posts that I'll be using to put my netting on, which is right down here on the ground. Hopefully I have enough. But that's what I'm going to secure to these posts here. But anyway, these posts are 7 foot tall. And that's what I'm going to use to place the netting on for the cucumbers and the cherry tomatoes. Okay, here you can see where the drip is coming out of the header, right here. So I kind of exposed that drip a little bit because I don't want to hit the drip with my posts. So I have an idea exactly where that's running down the bed here. And I want to set my post back off of that maybe about 6 inches. And then I can plant between the basically the post and that drip. I went to the other end of the row to find the end of the drip. Hopefully you can see it. It's really shadowy, but it's right here. That way I can eyeball down the center of this bed and not worry about hitting the drip. All right guys, since I found the front of the drip and the back of the drip where it ends, I have some paracord and a couple tent stakes, and I just run that right over the top of that bed where that drip is running, and that is my guide so I don't hit my drip. So I can set the posts off to the left side of that line any distance I'd like, which I want probably about 6 inches, and I don't have to have any fear of hitting my drip. But that's how I do it. Okay, here's my first post. I see my line. It's just on the other side of my drip. So I'm going to place it right here so I have space to put my plant here right next to the drip. And I don't have any worry about this hitting the drip and ruining my drip. Ground is real soft, so you could just step right straight in. And there it is, the first post. Now I just need to put a few more in. What I kind of like to do is put the first one and the last one. And then the ones right in the middle, I can just kind of fill the spot with a weight, I guess. Straight. Oh, there's the wrong way. I want to make sure that the little nubs on those posts are facing the same way. So I can use it with that netting. You have to pay a little bit of attention. There we go, there's the second one. Now we just simply put the ones in the middle. And this here, you can measure if you want. Don't think there's really any need in particular about it. You want them to look nicely spread out. Let's go see how crooked I am. Yeah, one more post. What I do is I just split the difference. go. Posts are set. Okay, now between the posts, you need what's called the ridge line. The ridge line is what's going to hold your netting. If you don't use a ridge line, the vegetables are just going to pull your net down and it's going to be a mess. It's going to be a lot of trouble. So what I use is what's called a clothesline. It's cable, plastic covered, and what I'm using on the end to make my knot, I'm sorry, I don't know what that is, but take a good look at it. That's what I use. That's my knot, so it doesn't come off. And what I do is I simply take the other end of this clothesline, and there's a hole at the very top of the post, and I'll thread it through. So I'll show you that here in a second. Okay, here's that hole at the top of the post I was telling you about. What you do is you just take your cable and you just slide it through the hole until you get to the knot. Just like that. There's your knot. Now we went into the front side of that post. The second post, since we went into the front, what I do is I go in through the back side now. Okay, like I said, the second post would come from the back. And I weave these that way, all the way down. And what that does is it really helps strengthen, or not strengthen, but helps the wire not to slip. If you weave it back and forth through the posts, it holds them in place really good. So when you pull tension on this one, it locks it in place for the next one. So the third one, you'll go back through the front and vice versa all the way down. Okay, I've got that ridge line all the way across the post, run through the top. Now we're at the end here. We have a lot of extra wire. So what we'll do is simply cut the excess off with a pair of these. And then we'll slide that on the end and tighten it up. And that'll be our knot. I'll show you what it looks like at the end. Okay, I have the knot on the end of this cable. This is how I did it. I went through the front, down to the next hole, and I come out this side. And the reason why I came out this side is this is very difficult to put on if you're on the other side, because you can't get the socket on that piece here well. So if you get to the end, just go down one more hole, bring the wire through, and put your knot on this side where you can get to that to tighten it up. Now all we got to do is simply snip off the end. Okay, I'm just going to give just a basic overview what it looks like at this point. Got the posts in, got the ridge line across, got the knots on, secured, wires held well. Now we just need to stretch this netting across. So I'm going to need some help from one of my kids. We'll come stretch out that netting and we'll get that hung up, and I'll show you how I hang it up on there. Here's the trellis netting stretched out over the posts. It's not secured yet, but we've got it kind of hanging there. Got it in place to be secured. And what I'm going to use is what's called wire ties. I'm going to use these to attach that netting to that ridge line and then to the green posts. And what you need to do is you need to work at one end and work back to the other side, kind of stretching the net and securing it as you go. I have most of this trellis up right now. I want to show you what I did. Got it attached on the end post here with wire ties all the way down. And then on the ridge line, more wire ties, securing it to the ridge line. Did that all the way across to the very end. And down the center posts here in the middle, it's wire tied down those as well. And I went ahead and trimmed all the wire ties, made it all nice and neat. Now, on the bottom, we have extra, as you can see. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull that netting down to the ground, where it meets the ground, and I'll trim the excess off. And how I will secure it to the ground, I'll show you what I'm going to use. Excuse all the movement. But I'm going to use these to secure the net to the ground. So I'm going to go ahead and trim the bottom of that net off and secure it down and show you the final product, what it looks like. I'm finished with this trellis. I have it trimmed off on the bottom, and I use those staples, those fabric staples, to hold the net down on the bottom. But that's my trellising complete. I have one more trellis to do, which of course I'm going to do it the same way, so I'm not going to film it. And we'll have to plant tomorrow. So we'll pick up with this video tomorrow. We'll go ahead and add the planting of the, the cucumbers and possibly the cherry plants too. We'll see. We'll see how they look. But that's it for today. I'll see you tomorrow morning and we'll finish up this video, get this stuff planted. It's coming together. Thanks a lot, everybody, for watching.